Greetings everyone, I'm coming back with another Corona Truth report. Now the previous report that I did cut off just before I was going to explain to you what this is. Now the important thing for you to observe here is that you have a figure here with wings that has his head on a black person, and this is British. I'm going to read to you what it actually says, because this is basically what those of us who live in the UK face every day of our lives. You know, it's quietly said, and it doesn't really affect people until you try to raise up and basically try to earn a certain amount of money. You know, there's a glass ceiling for us. We work in the industries of entertainment or music, and we start to realize that this is an effect. You realize it when somebody that is in an institution steals from you and you try to get justice, or members of your family get murdered brutally in a tower like in Grenfell Tower, and you want to assert the truth. This is when you start to see this come into effect. I mean, I don't know how close this can get, but I want you to really see what I'm showing you here. His foot is on a black person. Can't tell, it could be a black man. But this is like somebody with wings, with a extremely demonic looking face, but wings. So supposedly this is some sort of angelic figure. I don't know if anybody knows what this means around here, but let me read to you what it says. Let's make it smaller. Wait a minute, so you can really see it now, right? This is how diabolical, and this is what we face every single day because we were born with melanated skin, brown skin. This is the emblem for institutional racism. So let me just come out here. Sorry about the table, it's a bit shaky, so if you're hearing strange noises, it's my table. I apologize for that. Yeah, so this I posted 5 hours ago. This is a KCMG, the highest order given traditionally to diplomats and overseas personnel by the Queen in the New Year's Honours List. Zoom in to the image and you'll see why and how the UK and so-called Great Britain is racist, and until this is all rooted out of our traditions, etc., nothing will change. So true. This is why I've been targeted for 17 years, and not one organization that is supposed to be protecting me as a member of the public or me as a sovereign person. They will turn their blind eye because this is how we are perceived. They have their foot on our heads and our neck. This is how we are perceived. This is why many people in the music industry don't get paid. They steal our royalties, they steal our copyrights, they steal our intellectual property. We're perceived as slaves that are not entitled to anything. In 17 years, people have become super wealthy from me. Companies like Virgin were not interested in health before they stole my health and fitness multimedia package. They weren't interested in it. When I came along and I showed them that I'd done a multimedia platform to revolutionize how we deal with health and fitness within entertainment, they moved into the health sector as a result of stealing from me all those years ago in 2003. And They have made themselves mega wealthy, all the network bosses, and there's a culture. It's a case after case. There's a case of Misha B, who's exposing how she was treated on X Factor. There's Sugar Babes. She's come forward to talk about the racism that she's experienced. I remember there was somebody called Charlie on Big Brother. I remember her being crucified. She was absolutely being abused. I remember it because her name is Charlie and I'm Charles. Some people call me Charlie. And I remember that she was being brutalized at the same time that I was. And if you ask any of these people, what has Seven done to you that you've done all that evil to her? They will say nothing. She hasn't done anything to us. She just wants to be paid and credited for her work. And this is how they perceive us. This is how they perceive Virgin, all these companies. BBC are beneficiaries unlawfully of my work. ITV, SMG, Scottish Media Groups, ITV, all of these networks, Channel 4, they're all creaming off my intellectual property and stealing, and they don't want me to get 1 penny from my own labour in 17 years. And you think about that, people. For 17 years, I've worked and made mega billions for the UK, and that money has travelled across the world. And they do not want me to get 1 penny. This is the reason why. This is the reason why. It's got to change, and it's only going to be people coming forward to tell their own stories of how institutional racism has affected them that will change this. And we, as a 99%, all nationalities, all people come forward, not just black people. All people, if you have a heart and you care about what happens to your fellow brothers and sisters, you should be making noise about this. This is what they're handing out to people. And that's what they do to you. Once they steal from you, they pass on your details so that other companies can get involved in the scam. I've had at one time 2,900 and I think it was 39 people hacking my machines looking for things to sell. This is what is going on with me. They've broken in, they've stolen all my property from my house. They try to crush you. This is the intention that they have for melanated people, black people. Okay? And this is why Melinda Gates openly said that black people have to be first to be vaccinated. There is a hatred for us that is completely unjustified. And even the way that they make us, they make us out to be the aggressors. We're not the aggressors at all. You can see who the aggressor is. It's not us. We are dignified, royal people. This is who we really are. And these people want us to be like slaves. They want to perceive us as slaves. And we need to change it. This is the time that we change it. So I'll show you some other things. This is a wonderful article that I recommend to everybody, particularly in light of the fact that we are demonized, we're persecuted, we're oppressed, abused, mistreated, terrorized, tortured, tormented, day after day, day after day, day after day. This is how we, as people of colour, are treated in the UK. Now, this is a beautiful article because, as you can see, it says this 11-year-old boy scored higher on his IQ test than Bill Gates and Albert Einstein. Isn't that wonderful? If you go on to blackhistory.com, you'll be able to see it and find out about him. I'll just open it up. Wait a minute. Okay. It says in 2014, 11-year-old Ramam, how do you say that? Ramami. I don't have my glasses, so to read things is awful. My glasses broke today, so I have to get a new pair. But I think it could be Romani Wilfred from London. UK took a Mensa test and was told that he had a higher IQ level than Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and even Albert Einstein. All of them have an IQ of 160, but Ramani scored 162 on his test, putting him the top 1% in the UK. And that's why they hate us, people. They want us to buy into this perception that we are slaves. They've painted Africa as this poor, impoverished place while they fleece billions every year. Get some water, wait a minute. Every year they fleece billions upon billions upon billions of pounds from Africa, leaving Africa completely impoverished in many accounts, okay? And they have this picture of babies dying with flies in their eyes and, starving people. But meanwhile, they're not telling you that they're stealing all the money and the resources and the minerals and the diamonds from Africa. Okay, so this is typical of how racism works. Everybody should look up the Berlin Conference, which took place in, I think it was 1861. But you should look up the Berlin Conference and how they chopped up Africa. They basically had this conference and designed to turn the continent of Africa as it was one place and chop it into all these different places. And so basically to be able to fleece, to be able to exploit. And so each country in Africa, in the continent of Africa, was a standalone place instead of fighting as one mighty force that it actually is. And so we need to educate ourselves. Educate yourself on the map. The map of Africa has been, sort of distorted to make it look a lot smaller than it actually is. It's all designed to make us have this impression that we are idiots. Meanwhile, they're eating from our wealth, from our resources, from our ingenuity. Look up all the inventions from melanated people all around the world, and you'll see that it's everything that's in society right now is coming from a melanated person. And they have this picture of us. They paint this picture, and it's false, that we are ignorant and we don't do anything. And it's absolute lies. And so we need to correct that. We need to change the paradigm that makes these people get away with being institutionally racist. And our own people, there are people, because in my case there is melanated people that have sided with this, that are prepared to enslave their own people to get a bit of the crumbs. My ex-partner, friends of mine, this is what they did to myself and my cousin Ronnie. So, unfortunately, some people feel the only way to get ahead is if you tread on other people. And we have to change it. It's time to change it, people. So I want to put this message out there today, because we're talking about racism and everything's coming out. I really want the message to come through that we need to start having respect for melanated people. That's the message from me today. So I'm not going to put a lot in this video today. I just wanted to share these couple of things and, just to support all my brothers and sisters out there who are being brutalized across the world because they are melanated. We are royal, majestic people, and we have the right to be paid like everybody else and not treated like slaves a second longer. And on that note, I'm going to sign out.